Monday night, it's Race Spot TV. We're here on Twitch and we are live for Monday Night Skippys. Cars heading to the grid. Without further ado, we are going to go to your starting lineup for tonight's race. Lando Norris, he's back and he's on pole. 221.254. Tom Ward is second. Kane Halliburton's back. Simon Edwards, Fahim Antonidis, Mick Watson, Ashley Beard, Clark Williams, Christopher Cash, Robert Plumley, your top 10. Behind them, starting rather low down, Mark Mercer in 11th, Mark Turner, Brian Holmes, Bill Fraser, Paul Thurston 15th, Jack Hobbs, Neil Bontemps, Matt Cox, Andrew Leach and Anthony Catt. As we wait for the clock to run down, it's of course Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom and Connery Maddock as always. And, well, Connery, really quick, Suzuka, fantastic track, really fast.
Yeah, but also kind of really slow as well in these skip guys. It takes around about 2 minutes, 20 seconds on a fast lap to try and get themselves around. And look at who we have on pole position. It's the only Lando Norris.
It really is, and Linus, this track has its real problem zones, of course. Well, 130R and the S's.
Yeah, the first set of corners, left, right, constant turning. That's going to be a big issue with all these cars, and I don't think the 130R is going to be a problem with these cars though, because they don't hit that high speed. So, well, they hit high speeds, but not as fast as some cars that go around here, so I don't think that will be an issue. But as always, a big draft track this will be, and we're going to see a lot of passing coming to the end of the laps, and it will be real interesting going to the last lap.
Certainly will be. Well, green flag will fly, and we're racing here for round number 5. We have 10 laps here at Suzuka. Ward tucks in immediately behind Norris, and the train kind of breaks up behind that, though. Antonidis leading a second charge almost at the inside there with Mick Watson. They're going to filter back in line through the first corner, which funnels them down into the tighter turn number 2 here. A little bit further back there in your front group as everyone gets themselves set up for this run. Big grid tonight, of course. We have 60 cars, I believe. Stuart Adcock not on the grid, neither is Keith Sharp or Stuart Wilkie, so those guys will not be scored, neither is Martin Brandon. 56 cars on the racetrack though, and what a field we have so far, Connery.
Yep, and the field that is going single file through the S's for the first time, at least for a large amount of your field as they snake their way through the left and right, heading up towards Dunlop now. Here comes maybe a challenge for the race lead. Tom Ward down the inside of Degner 1 on Lando Norris, and Lando Norris not going to defend that move too much. He knows exactly how important the draft is around this track in these skip cars, so he's not going to be too concerned about a pass on the first lap as they head their way out the second Degner now, run up towards the hairpin. Here comes Simon Edwards and Fahim Antonidis. They're going to head side by side with Edwards on the inside line. Challenge for the lead though goes Norris down the inside, and Norris will take back to be number 1.
He will indeed. Lando Norris there fighting alongside Tom Ward, who's going to go for the inside line there. Ward will have a clear run through. Linus?
Yeah, these guys fighting back and forth all the time is really stacking up the field behind them a bit as well, and I don't think they're going to stop doing this very soon, because they're still side by side going onto the long straightaway, and it looks like Norris is going to get the lead for now.
Absolutely, of course, and well, this one's still pushing forwards, but Tom Ward going to have another look here at Norris. Going to go to the outside this time on the approach to 130R. We could see them go through this one together. If he has enough of an overhead, he might be just about ahead of him though before we reach the corner. Not quite clear. Norris has the inside line. Ward has to drop back inside of him though, but might have another look here as behind him is getting very congested. I think that's the 25 of Halliburton also getting involved too as it round goes Antonidis, I think. Big congestion back there as they turned into the Casio Triangle. Oh my gosh. Have a quick look at what happened there, as I believe it was in fact Fahim, the number 8 car. It was on the outside there. Got hit by Halliburton, turned around. Contact behind them. Mercer also, I think that was... yeah, a few of the other cars there involved in this one, the 38, the 27. Big problems. Clark Williams just made it through there. Most are going to get going again. Luckily for some, they're right near the pit entrance though, Linus.
Yeah, it's fortunate for them that it's right at the end of the lap, but that has really broken up the field, and we've all of a sudden got 3 cars pulled away a 2-second lead in the first lap, and we're not used to seeing that in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 2-second gap is not exactly expected at this sort of place, but the first group here is breaking away. That's Ward, of course, now out front ahead of the treble 3 of Norris. Halliburton as well, the, should we say, architect of that massive carnage at the entry to the Casio Triangle there, Connery. But they've broken away good here. 2.6 back to Watson, who's leading this second trio of himself, Cash and Plumley. Plumley actually doing rather well this week, actually, up there ahead of Brian Holmes and Beard, who are running kind of solo behind them.
Yeah, it also was pretty much a car park in the Casio Triangle. As side by side for the race lead, they're going to have to go here. Tom Ward and Lando Norris yet again battling as they head their way through turn number 12 called 200R. So it's 130R, 200R on this racetrack. As Tom Ward will just sit behind in the draft now, and Kane Halliburton, he's just going to be watching there, just stalking these front two, just letting them fight, and then he'll make his move, perhaps coming into the latter stages of this race. We've only got 10 laps here because the lap time is so long here at Suzuka. It's the full track instead of any shortened version, and they'll just head their way out of Spoon Cove right now. Looking down the field though at any other particular battles that might be going on, it's an absolutely huge train going all the way down from Jack Hobbs in 9th position all the way down towards the bottom end of the just inside the top 20. There's just a whole gaggle of cars, and there's Neil Bontemps just getting past the 38 of Ashley Beard there on the run down towards 130.
We always like to have a good look at our spread of time throughout our field leaders before every race, and we look at the top second splitting drivers from pole and how far that second gap takes you down the field. Well, it was 2:21.254 this time for Lando Norris, and a 22.2. Well, that's only 10th place. This is how big the spread of speed is at Suzuka and how hard it is to put a lap together. Only the top 10 are within a second here. Somewhere like Lime Rock Park or Silverstone, if I can even English, you're talking the top 20, top 30. Here, 10 cars within a second.
Yeah, but then this track is about 3 times as long as Lime Rock as well, so that would equal to like 3 seconds, and then we're all the way down in 40th. But I don't know, you can't compare it that way, but in some ways you really can't, because it's such a big track and you got so many more places to make up time or lose time. So, but still, it's still a pretty tight qualifying. Everyone is within like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, they certainly are, of course. And we'll have a quick look back at our lead group. Norris back ahead of Tom Ward, and Halliburton tagging along in third there, really not trying to compete too heavily. Simon Edwards has had a problem. He's right back in turn 1. Antonidas are leading this other group up here as we have them. He's up there with the likes of Beard, Watson, Williams and Cash. They're quite a long way back actually at this point. They're not doing too fantastic. As we have a little look at this second group here, Cash, Watson, Plumley, Holmes. They're still about 2.5 seconds back. It's slowly drifting away from your lead trio, but not by a huge margin. We're on to lap number 3 here of 10. Mercer is out, of course, from the early incident. He's one of your big retirees at this point. Cesario Rizzo also out. Gary Brown, Alan Patterson, not looking great here at Suzuka. There's quite a few of these cars sitting on pit road in rather sad condition. We'll get back to the racing, of course. Back at the front, Tom Ward likely to make another sweep here, Connery, at Norris as they head up towards 130.
Yep, he will. And he will just sit in that slipstream, just pull alongside towards driver's right-hand side of Lando Norris, around the outside, coming out to 130R. He might get this pass completed before the entry to 130R. He will only just, but Norris will stick his nose still inside there, and then he will end up getting the momentum off of the corner as well, as Tom Ward didn't really get the run he needed around the outside. So it's going to be status quo heading themselves down in towards the Casio Triangle for the 3rd time. Meanwhile, I'm just seeing a driver drop way back through the field. This is Tim Adcock, who's had himself an incident coming up through 130R, I believe. Ooh, that's a high-speed incident. The car just broke away from him. He was heading side by side with Ewan Patterson, going around the outside. Car just broke away from him completely, and that's a heavy impact, scary impact with that wall.
It is 5:02 here. Andrew Leach side by side here with Matt Cox heading into turn 1. Looks like Leach will have that position made very nicely for him, as behind them it's a battle between Hefford and Bill Fraser. So the veteran touring car driver versus the plucky Scot, who will probably try and make some sort of inappropriate dive. We'll keep our eyes on him because it's always good for a bit of a replay. But as things go forward, to catching Cox and Leach there, so we could see them grouping up as they head through the Degners and towards 200R Linus. So this one has the potential to really grow. We've got a lot of cars behind them as well. Thurston, Vaughan Roberts, Fairbanks, Williams.
Yeah, this is the biggest group we got on the track right now, I think about 11 cars, but they are starting to split up a little bit, and one car trying to pass another, spending some time side by side, that will lose you a lot of time. So as we're seeing, they're starting to split up here as they go a bit wide, but still single file.
They certainly are, of course,
car at the back
under
of that group
the
actually,
bridge.
being slow.
Yeah, he ran wide there at that moment. Well, go a quick look here at Bill Fraser, actually. Keep your eyes on him, because he's looking dangerously close to the back of Steve Hefford's Castrol Edge machine. We'll see if the Tartan monstrosity can do anything up through 200R and run towards spoon corners. These ones are pretty good for getting some draft on those cars. Might have a chance up towards 130R as well, Connery, but he's been trying to move forward. He's only made one spot so far in this race, whereas Hefford has already climbed from 21st to 12th.
Yeah, and Hefford, one of those drivers in the field that has made some impressive progress through the field. Another one's going to be Matt Cox, up 8 positions in towards that P number 10 area that he's in right now. So a good run for him. Meanwhile, there's a car slow, Kane Halliburton. What has happened to him? He's slow on the run down towards 130R, and there's a bit of damage to that car, and it's going to be an incident all on his own. He was just weaving about all behind the two leaders going side by side, and he spun himself out into the left-hand wall.
He did, which is somewhat unusual for that moment in time, but
that's embarrassing.
Here with, very embarrassing. Tom Ward and Lando Norris here, side by side, on the run up towards the start-finish line. On his own, Norris is going to look to go around the outside here on Ward, as it's basically a two-car battle here with 3 seconds back to Christopher Cash now, who's himself side by side with Watson.
Yep, exactly. As Cash will try to hold the inside line coming down in towards turn number 1. This double apex right-hander pretty much. And Mick Watson will just have to fall behind just for now, as it's still your two leaders at the front of the field, still slicing and dicing their way, coming through the S's section at the start of the lap here. Tom Ward and Lando Norris definitely going at it hammer and tongs, and well, they can pretty much afford to at this point, with almost half the race gone, because they have around about 3-second gap to the cars behind. And well, if they're battling that much, then maybe the second pack can start working together to drag themselves back up towards the front. But with the standard of the field at the front, with Tom Ward and Lando Norris, that's seemingly unlikely.
Certainly is. Of course, Norris and Ward passing each other when it's appropriate. Oh, Norris got a bit sideways there to the second Degner, as they are passing each other in appropriate places, so they're actually gaining time by doing it rather than slowing each other up. The second group, Cash and Watson, with Plumley and Holmes just behind them. Those 4 cars now nearly joined as well behind the cars of Hobbs and Bontemps, catching up a little bit quicker here. But looking at the lap times of Cash, for example, 2:23.5 for him, Tom Ward 3:23.2. So him and Norris side by side now, and the run down to the first part of Spoon. It's Ward on the inside, but can Norris hold it around the outside? He holds it level. This is the sort of racing that will slow them down, as they are spending a lot of time side by side.
This is definitely going to cost them time, and now they're side by side. They're not going to get any draft coming down the straightaway, and this is really going to close up the battle from 3rd place up to the leaders. So we could very well see this being a 5, 6, 7, 8 car battle for the lead if they keep doing this. They've been going side by side down the entire straight, and they're still side by side into 130R. So
yeah, indeed. We can actually explain Kane Halliburton's issue. We'll break that 4th wall of the simulator and tell you that his wheel failed. So saying mechanical issues wouldn't quite sound right when we say his force feedback failed, according to Kane. So that's why he decided to go and bonsai into a barrier at that point. So that explains absolutely everything. As Tom Ward now going to look for a move here on Lando Norris. What can he do?
They just closed that gap down by 1.8 seconds in 1 lap. So this is going to be a battle soon.
This is what we talked about, is if they race in inappropriate places like they had been doing that lap, it'll start to get a bit busier. And it's proving to be just the case here. 1.3 now to Watson, so they are really closing up, and the enemy you can catch is normally one that's in sight, so they're back in visual range here. That'll be a huge boost to the second pack, and they have got more cars.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, because they did lose what was around about 2 and a bit seconds that last lap. So this is definitely on the card right now. I did say it was unlikely they'll be able to catch, but because Ward and Norris have been fighting so much, going side by side pretty much every corner of the past lap, that has resulted in that gap coming down between the second and the front pair. And they're going to head their way through the first and second Degners now. And a big slide there for the 666 of Mick Watson coming through the first Degner. but he will have no further issues as far as that is concerned. On the run up towards the hairpin now, still no move for Tom Ward, pulling off down the inside of Lando Norris, so he's not going to do it. He's looking to look through on the exit though, but still no run out of the corner for him. And now this second pack is pretty much well within the drafting zone of these Skip Barber cars now.
Certainly is, and look at them racing now just up ahead of this second pack. This could make it a bit more interesting, as Watson and Cash will definitely catch up at this point. They're right on the back now, the lead pair, and that battling is going to cost them an opportunity. A little bit further back, we haven't got as much racing as we'd like to look at, so we'll keep our eyes on this second group here with Christopher Cash and Mick Watson. And what can they do to bring themselves up towards the back of Ward and Norris?
They just have to stay in the draft here down the straightaway now, and it looks like they will. Probably not going to get close enough on this lap. In a lap or two they'll be right up there, and they're going side by side for the lead again, which is costing them. But I think Cash will catch them fairly soon. I'm not sure about the other Stokes, they've dropped back a bit.
Absolutely are indeed, and well, we're on to lap number 7 this time through, and at least Watson right in the back of Tom Ward here, up in a position where we saw Kane Halliburton, of course, and this will draw the others in as well. So we know Watson's a very fast racer, should have the opportunity to catch up.
Should have the opportunities. Here comes another run for Tom Ward down the inside, this time of Lando Norris coming down in towards turn number 1, and actually he won't just try to stick it down the inside there. He's going to try to hold the line there, but I would have thought he'd gone a little bit deeper than that to try and gain the position over him, but he's not going to get the position coming into the SS section. Now Christopher Cash right on the gearbox of these two leaders now. And so it's currently a 3-car fight for the race lead. Could easily become a 6-car fight for the race lead once the 3 at the back of this train close up that slight bit of gap between those two packs at the moment.
Well, the packs did just break up a little bit more than we'd perhaps expected them to at this point. Well, have a look at the Paul Thurston cam. Mr. Thurston, El Capitan, captain of the UK&I club, up in 13th place here for qualifying in 15th, working on Clark Williams. We'll see if he can make a move on him. He's definitely gaining on the run towards the Deckners. We have the opportunity to run a bit further forwards, because we're in range of quite a few cars here. We could see Thurston breaking into the top 10 again this season.
Yeah, and I think we would all love to see that. We always like to keep a check on how Paul Thurston's doing, because he's one of those drivers that really has improved over the seasons that we have been doing this, and always loves to give us a lovely little chat in the post-race show. So we do really like Paul Thurston. It's totally unbiased there, as again the leaders are going to go side by side in towards Spoon Curve, Lando Norris defending on the inside. And now, if you're Christopher Cash, what do you do in this situation? If you're Mick Watson, Plumley, or Holmes, what do you do in this situation? It's basically usually what we see in the next Skippys is just a medium speed game of chess, shall we say, and to see where you want to be coming up to the start of the back straight on the final lap, or even start of the pit straight going on to the final lap, if you can make the pass. There's going to be no pass perhaps coming out of the final corner here, because the start finish line is so far back in terms of where these guys finish and where the checkered flag comes out. So it could be a last lap lunge that has to be needed from the guys in 2nd, 3rd, 4th place to improve their position coming into the Casio Triangle on the final lap. It was a terrible run out of the Casio Triangle for Tom Ward that time by. This gives a chance to Christopher Cash to make his way down towards driver's right hand side of the pit straight here. He's going to get the draft from Lando Norris ahead. That's just going to pull him along, and he's going to maybe slot himself inside into P number 2 here. No, Lando Norris actually moving about across the straight, trying to manage the draft there coming down the pit straight. So very good job for him, and it's currently keeping him ahead and just allowing this side-by-side battle for P2 to continue as Tom Ward finally follows himself into P number 3.
I'll put this very simply. Lando Norris and Tom Ward have just screwed their opportunity for a very simple race win, or a fight for the race win, because now they're drawn in a group of cars. Now, any have-a-go hero from this group of about 6 here can decide to do exactly what Conor suggested. A massive Senna-esque dive bomb up the inside of the Casio Triangle, which could result in tears or victory. So there's 6 cars who will have that mindset coming into the last lap, of course, who will try and take that opportunity. And we are going to see an absolute dive bomb of some sorts. I will put money on it. As it stands, we have Lando Norris, Tom Ward, Christopher Cash, Mick Watson, Robert Plumley, Brian Holmes in this lead train. And I only see it getting a little closer as time plays on, Linus. Ward has been passed here by Cash. Ward is going to try absolutely everything he can think of to get past but that could also end in tears.
Yeah, Cash is going to have the benefit of the draft here now though, but as soon as he gets up next to Norris, his draft is going to go away and Ward might make it 3 wide, so I don't know how patient Ward is going to be, but he really wants that win, and he's not going to be playing nice with Christopher Cash. I don't expect that, so it's going to be interesting to see what he will decide to do as they actually get a little bit of a gap down to 4th place as he goes a bit wide there.
He does, and the stress getting to him at this point is behind them is Plumley and Plumley and Watson, sorry, are racing for position. Shouldn't be too big a deal though, but look at this one, Christopher Cash nearly getting a chance to come back at Tom Ward there as he passes into 130R. Oh, bit of a wiggle for Lando Norris. He gets his wheel on the rumble strip there, and who manages just to narrowly hold on. But Tom Ward has a sniff of blood in the water, and the Ward shark is going for it because Norris makes an uncharacteristic mistake pushing wide. The back end steps, he controls it and saves that car beautifully. But my gosh, that was nearly a very embarrassing mistake here, as Tom Ward will have an easy chance to pass into 1.
Yep, he will, and he might even get this move done down on towards the brakes into 1 as he does, but he pushes a little bit wide, and Lando Norris instantly down the inside there to take the position back. That is the sort of awareness that you get if you're a pro driver. You just react almost instantly to whatever is going on around you, and also the fantastic car control to save slides like he had. There's a car off there with lap traffic, Cameron Smith in the gravel there, and there's also a little bit more lap traffic, Michael Barry as well, that may get himself involved here, but he's going to stay on that driver's left-hand side of the track on the outside line, so he won't be too much of an issue. Gets himself into the grass though, which isn't really ideal for his race, but he's a lap down, so his race isn't going well, full stop anyway, as Tom Ward and Lando Norris, they've got a slight gap over Cash and Plumley now, but there's still nowhere near enough to say that they're outside the draft range. They're just going to suck back up to the back of those cars.
They are. And this is not going to end politely. I have some feeling deep in my bones this race is not going to end in a polite afterwards forum conversationiness. I think there's going to be some arguments because I can feel a little tension coming on. There's some very bold racing happening up here at the sharp end, and it's going to make this a little bit more interesting once we kind of filter this through. But I do believe we've just had we have not. I thought we'd had an issue with Mr. Thurston, but he's actually still in 13th place. We'll keep our eyes back on this lead group. 4 cars really on that front end. Of course, Watson there. No, that's, I believe, the Plumbers. That is Robert Plumley. Behind Christopher Cash, Tom Ward and Lando Norris. So Watson and Holmes dropping back a little bit here. And you know what? I've waited a lot of races to be able to make as Tom Ward goes along the outside here of Norris towards 130R. Will he make the same mistake Norris did? I've waited a long time to see Mick Watson and Brian Holmes back on the same racetrack in the same part of the field together, because I can finally make my Sherlock Jones. Holmes and Watson are next to each other. It's too perfect. As Tom Ward edges ahead in the triangle, holds on there around the outside just narrowly with a lot of cars right up his exhaust pipe, as Norris clearly going to go for a move, as will Cash, and on to the final lap.
Yeah, white flag in the air, so last lap for these guys to get themselves sorted. As 2x2 for positions 1, 2, 3, 4 they will go. Perhaps a little bit 3 wide action coming down into turn number 1, but it just remains 2x2 like Noah's Ark just for now. Meanwhile, still side by side for the race lead. Tom Ward just trying to hold that inside line, but Lando Norris will get the run off the corner coming into the section. He can't really go too wide through. This is the S's section. It's pretty much one line all the way through here. Ward almost running into the back of Lando Norris there, but he manages to not do so and keep his front wing clean, as this whole front pack just starts to bunch up now. There's Mick Watson that's got himself a little bit of a gap over these front 4 cars, but he could play a factor coming into the latter stages of this lap right now. And Tom Ward, is his strategy to stay behind just for now and make a pass coming into 130R in the Cassius Triangle, or does he want to get ahead before that happens?
I think 130R is the best place for it, but he also has to have a lot of luck working in his favour if he wants that. He knows he'll get passed back by Norris if he does it any earlier, though. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And what will he do coming through this? We'll see. Ward going for a good exit here towards the 200R corner, but he has to back out a little bit there because Norris just backed him down in the middle of the corner. Nice defensive driving. Cash still in a good attacking spot here. Plumley and Watson have dropped back a little bit. Holmes has apparently gotten lost. Watson may have to go back and find him. And they have to be a duo. That's the rules. As Tom Ward gets a wiggle on, Cash going to look to the outside here for the spoon. Tom Ward holds it in there just about, but it's continuing up as everyone tries to get the best run through the second part of the corner. Oh, Plumley nearly hits the back there. Oh, Watson nearly hits the back of Plumley, I should say. Plumley runs wide. That was actually Watson, not Plumley. The cars look too flipping similar. Now, this is the opportunity. Tom Ward coming up behind Lando Norris on the run up to 130R. Is he close enough? I don't think he is. He's going to have to go for a monumental dive, and we know what that means. It's going to be some sort of Animaniac style cartoon fighting sound effects. Biff, bang, boink, etc. There's all big lock up by Cash. He's not going to make it though. Lando Norris just outdrove him in that final sequence of corners. Nothing Tom Ward can do about that one. Lando Norris will come across the line. Now, with the victory, Tom Ward will have to settle for second place. That's the first time I've seen Tom Ward really outperform a track like this.
Yeah, and it takes Lando Norris to be able to do that. It's almost 3 wide coming down to the Gasly Triangle. The 0.33 of Nick Sigley, 22 Darrell Taylor, and 8 of Fahim Antonides are very close coming down into the Gasly Triangle, but they will sort themselves out for positions just inside of your top 20 cars right now, as we have still a whole bunch of cars that head themselves across the line. That's how big the field here is in Monday Night Skippies. There's still 44 cars on the lead lap, believe it or not. But Tom Ward, you can't really, if you're Tom Ward, you can't really say that you felt hard done by that race, because the only person that finished ahead of you was Lando Norris, and you know, you can't argue with that one really.
No, it's a great race there, of course, and fantastic result for Christopher Cash, getting 3rd place there from 9th on the grid. Plumley from 10th gets 4th. Without further ado, let's go to our finishing results. Lando Norris takes the win here in the first time this season at Suzuka. Tom Ward settles for 2nd place. Christopher Cash in 3rd with Robert Plumley and Mick Watson running at your top 5. Brian Holmes, Jack Hobbs, Andrew Leach, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, and Neil Bontemps your top 10. Behind them, it's Matt Cox, Anthony Catt, Clark Williams, Paul Thurston in 14th, Peter Cowan, Gordon Ramsay, Mark Shawley, Nick Sigley, Darrell Taylor, and Fahim Antonides in 20th. Rest of those results up on your screen, folks. As always, we'll be right back in a few moments' time with the post-race interviews. Don't go anywhere. They're funnier than the racing. Seriously, the post-race is the better part of this show. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back to Monday Night Skippys here and the post-race show on RaceSpot TV. Well, you know what? We have this problem every week. We tell people there's going to be interviews. We give them the TeamSpeak server. Now, if this was GT3, we'd have people lining up for interviews. If this was Neo, we'd have people lining up for interviews. If this was any other series, we'd have people lining up for interviews. But for some reason, the entire UK&I club are permanently shy They are terrified of microphones. We think they have some sort of phobia. We're treating them with a cream. It's not worked yet. But either way, we do only have one person to chat to this week, and that is Paul Thurston. We mention him every week because he always shows up. Paul, you are the faithful of our interview victims on Monday Night Skippys. Came home 13th today, which was a good one for you at Suzuka based on past records, and you didn't boink the car. Success.
Well, yeah, 13th. I thought it was 14th. To be fair on the others, I'm absolutely shattered, and I suspect they are too. That's a hard race. It might only be 25 minutes, but 25 minutes of constantly being within an inch of another car. It's a good. Yeah, it was a good race for me. Again, I mean, I seem to be finishing like 12, 13, 14, 15 all the time. And those consistent ones are actually pushing me up the championship a bit. I don't know what it'll be today.
Well, they certainly are, of course. Your results have been pretty solid so far this season. One or two not great ones, but in general, some pretty good results. And last season was very successful for you. A lot of top 10 finishes. Are you hoping for another top 10 in the championship points, or are you going to go aim a little bit higher? You're going to try and step on tiptoes?
Well, before this race, I think I was up to 6th, basically because I'm getting consistent mid-teens, low-teens finishes. So I'll just keep that up. I'll go as fast as I can. I will finish in front of as many cars as I can each week, and then what happens. I should have been.
It's a very zen approach for a race in Suzuka. Whatever happens, happens.
Well, it does. It's a great place to drive. It's a great place to race. Although it is difficult to overtake when you're in a train because everybody's got the draft. So people have to take risks. If you look where Brian finished, I probably would have been somewhere around. I started between Brian and Jack, and I reckon I would have been around there. So I think it should have been a top 10. But I got caught up on the first lap in the chicane where they all hit each other, basically, and they blocked the track. And I was right behind where the track was blocked, and everybody cruised past me. I was faster than them, but couldn't really do anything about it. I picked up a few places, but I was deep in a battle with people down there. But it was a good fun race. But I had a great little race with Clark and Anthony. And Neil had gone. Sadly, we never really caught him. But come on, Suzuka. I mean, it's the best track on the circuit, really, isn't it?
What's the best circuit on the track? Whichever way you want to phrase that one.
That could be Zen too.
That could be, yes. But we'll move on very quickly, and we'll have a quick chat to Barry West. We have the happy clown, which is always Paul Thurston from the Banana team, and we also have the sad clown up next, which is always Barry, who has had some upsetting results this year with bad luck, but you gained positions today. Let's take a positive here. You gained 7 spots. Came home today in 31st. Not ideal, but better.
No, but I should have been up with.
Seriously though.
I lost my front wing completely. Lap 2 into chicane, somebody doesn't realise the brakes in the middle, and they have to put it on when there's a car in front of them, and they turned another car into me, and I just lost the front wing. I was giving everybody plenty of room, and they just ploughed into the back of somebody. I forget who it was now. But yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just you get. If I don't qualify very well, you end up at the back, and then people don't respect each other. So it's just annoying, really. But that's a very good little race with 3 cars, even though that they were faster on the straights. And what really annoyed me was I was 30 when we went over the line, so I thought, at least I got a point. And then after I go over the line, it says I'm 31st. So how can that happen? I just don't believe that. But
it's just like one day you're 30, then the next day comes along and you turn 31. So
yeah, well, I was coming over the line on the last lap, and I was P30. How can you go back a position when nobody goes
magic, I guess.
Yeah.
But we shall move on, very unfortunately. We don't have much more time for this one tonight. Again, next week should be a lot better for you, hopefully, and for everyone in general. It should be a good race. But for the Land of the Rising Sun, we are going to say goodbye. It's been a fantastic race tonight, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Actually, people seem to have worked out where the Twitch channel is for Race Spot TV, so we're actually getting people to watch now rather than me, Connery, Linus, and Hugo as the viewers. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you same time next week. Join us back again on Race Spot TV. And, Monday Night Skippys. It's actually pretty fun. Good night.